A scandal has hit the national executive of the People's Democratic Party as 3 members of the party's National Working Committee have returned a combined sum of 93.6 million naira said to have been paid into their bank accounts, allegedly by the Yocha Ayu-led leadership of the party, with no explanation. In separate letters written to refund the various sums of money as seen by Arise News, the Deputy National Chairman South, Taufik Arakpaja, National Vice Chairman South, Dan Obi, and the National Women Leader, Professor Stella Afa Ato, said they could not explain the source of the money or what it was meant for, while one of them claimed it was said to be for a 2-year housing allowance. Arakpaja got 36 million naira of the said money, while Obi and Efa Ato got 28.8 million naira each. The development is on the heels of an alarm raised on Wednesday by a party member that a scandal was brewing to embarrass the party's national chairman, Ayu, and ultimately the presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Well, a number of questions are now being raised. Did the 3 forward an account to receive the payment? That's number 1 question. When was the payment made? And why is it being returned now? And was the payment only made to those identified as allies of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who has insisted that Ayu must go? Well, Arise News Director of News and Politics Editor Sumner Sambo joins us now for more on these stories. Sumner, good to see you.
Thank you so
much. I wonder how this latest development from the PDP came to you. Was it shocking, or you just said to yourself, well, same old, same old? What do you make of these allegations of possible bribery going on, and at this time?
Well, it's sort of very difficult to call it bribery for now until we get all the details.
That's why we call it
because we are seeing a tendency here among those that have been mentioned: Taufik Arakpaja, Dan Obi, Professor Stella Ato, Efato. All of these persons are people who have one tendency or the other to be linked with Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. And we know that Wike has been calling for the exit of the national chairman, Yocha Ayu. So if it's only these persons that have refunded the monies, and I think there's another gentleman that refunded his own money too, which we just learned not quite long ago, then what happens to the remaining members of the National Working Committee of the PDP? Were they also given these monies and they refused to refund? And what were these monies meant for? Well, from my investigations, I called a few party members here and there, and they told me that these are actually allowances that are meant for the accommodation in Abuja and so on. Then if that's the case, why are the allowances also being paid, when there's a heightened call for Yocha Ayu to be sacked? So it's left for the party to clarify the issues, and from what I've gathered, the party is actually trying to put out a statement as to what is the actual statement on this issue. What exactly is the position of the party on this issue? Is it a bribery, or was this money given to them to aid the accommodation issues? Is it part of what they're entitled to as national officers? And
this is happening at a time also that we hear that some monies were spirited away from the PDP accounts, leaving only about 1 billion naira.
Yeah, about between 10 to 15 billion naira was raised from the sales of forms and all of that. I mean, it's the same allegations that we're hearing even at the All Progressives Congress, allegations of squandering of these monies raised from sales of forms. But until those who are alleged actually have concrete facts, we cannot work with messes, because that's why the anti-graft agencies are there. And don't forget, even one of the former party members, Kasim Afegbo, had raised this a similar sort of allegation against the Uche Secondus-led administration. Now, we usually get this kind of allegations coming up when a lot of things cannot be explained. But I remember proud to now when I've spoken to some leaders of the PDP at the National Working Committee, they had said that this Yocha Ayu-led National Working Committee is different from that of others, because they had been taking some monies out of those funds and using it to sponsor other governorship elections. Like the last Ekiti governorship election, they gave about 300 million naira to the candidate. And then the same thing with the Osun State governor governorship candidate. They also spent like about 300 million naira or so that they gave to Ademola Adeleke to aid his campaigns. And that is the standard that Yoche Ayu has set for himself. That instead of going cap in hands begging state governors to sponsor governorship primaries, or in this case some activities of the party, that they will dip their hands into the party's funds that they've been able to realize from these sales of funds and use it to support party activities. So if that is causing a rift, and the governors are also angry that the national chairman or the national working committee is no longer coming to them to actually look for funds, then I think I would just ask that we wait until all of these details are brought to bear.
Well, Sumner, talking about waiting, it seems as if this infighting or whatever it is that's playing out at the PDP is not going away anytime soon. The moment Atiku moved on and announced his campaign committee or council, advisory council, we all figured we're moving away from all this. With this recent development, what does this really tell you, actually? What do you think is really playing out here? Do you think the PDP would ever get around, dealing with the major issues, which is, of course, winning the elections in 2023?
Yes, they will have no choice than to do that, because Nigerians are not interested in what is going on in the PDP. Nigerians are interested in what they have said that they are going to do for the nation. Atiku Abubakar has issued, what looks like his manifesto now, raising a 5-point agenda where he says, it's my manifesto, my covenant with Nigerians. This is the time for us to start scrutinizing those issues. As I keep telling some of their party leaders, this is a distraction that Nigerians can't afford. This is the succession presidency. You don't have an incumbent that's contesting. Right. So the floor is open for almost anyone to emerge. And they are giving Philip to the people on the other side to talk about Labour Party. If the Labour Party is able to arrange itself very well, New Nigeria People's Party, they will be able to harvest lots of people from here. A lot of Nigerians are tired with what's going on in the PDP. What's going on there, for example, right now, it has the clear hands of Wike, and Wike has a right to fight back. He's fighting back, and he's fighting in a very, very deadly way. It's left for the party to convince Nigerians that that's not what exactly is being alleged. The other members of the National Working Committees, whose names have not been mentioned, should come out and speak. Right. Did they receive these other monies too? And what were the monies meant for? Why are they not refunding their own monies? If these monies were legitimate, then there's no reason why people should be refunding the monies. Then if these other groups, like 4 of them, 4 members are returning these monies and they're from one political camp, then we can begin to read clear meanings to it that looks like...
Is it an attempt to rubbish somebody?
Yes, to actually make sure that the national chairman doesn't get the credibility that he ought to. Then the national chairman should come out and speak to.
Sumner, to what end? And you've made it clear, on this show several times, that even if you get Yocha Ayu out of the way, whoever is coming to replace him would also not satisfy.
It won't satisfy, because Damago is the person who is going to replace Secondus based on what the Constitution says, that the deputy national chairman from the region.
You meant to say
no, Umar Damagun, the deputy national chairman, what the Constitution says, that the deputy national chairman from the region where the national chairman comes from is the one to replace the national chairman in the case of death or resignation.
Right.
And in this instance, if there's going to be a resignation by Ayu, as Wike and co are calling, then the person to take over is Umar Damagun, who coincidentally comes from the northeast, comes from Yobe State, where the candidate comes from. Right. So if the candidate is coming from the northeast, and then the acting national chairman, that's if that happens, will be from the northeast, then what would they have achieved?
So it's a fighting futility?
Yes, then the other option would be for them to call for a caretaker committee, which is what we have been hearing since that they are all calling for, that the PDP should have a national caretaker committee like the APC had with Memala Buni. Then after the elections, there will be a convention where a national chairman will be elected. But can they afford this when Nigerians are waiting for a manifesto?
Okay, so let's go to the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan. He says he has accepted his plight, if I may call it that way. Any lessons learned? What exactly can we make out of the whole drama that's led to this? The issue of placeholder or no placeholder and what
and all of that. Well, I think it's good for us at this point in time to salute the courage of the President of the Senate for his decision not to proceed with this, because the facts of the matter were very, very clear. And a lot of persons, even prior to the court judgment, had been asking me, what do you think is going to happen? And I said, everything is very clear. This gentleman went into the primaries alone. Bashir Machina as the sole candidate, and everything that happened there was a unanimous decision to adopt him as the candidate, senatorial candidate for Yobe North. So the aftermath of the whole thing that happened with Ahmad Lawan going to say that, okay, he wants to go back to that position is something that was uncalled for. I know that there was that duty of the APC national chairman, Abdullah Adamu, to want to see how he can rearrange the situation for the Senate president after, you know, he was goaded into entering into the presidential race without, because it's very clear. I mean, it's very clear. I mean, his aides and others have told me he didn't really want to go into it. He was convinced, including by people like Oju Zokalu, and we have to say it very clearly.
Who actually said he was willing to be a doorkeeper or a sweeper if Ahmed Lawan became president.
I mean, you know, these are the people who designed a path for Ahmed Lawan. Ahmed Lawan was simply waiting to just come back to the National Assembly in a majority that is likely to be APC and just come back to contest for the Senate presidency until they brought that proposal to him. But it's clear to him right now that appealing this will not be the best option. And one thing I really love about it is that he commended his former governor for strengthening his political journey, including the incumbent governor, Maimala Buni. And from all that we have seen now, I think he has become a statesman by deciding not to pursue this further. So for all the gains, the political gains that he had lost while trying to pursue this in court, I think those who come from that senatorial district should be commending his action right now.
Will he still have a political future?
Yes, of course, because he's a very brilliant lawmaker. One of the oldest 7 federal lawmakers that we have, very intelligent person, has a PhD. And of course, if we are to give a professorship to anyone who has been in the National Assembly for long, Ahmed Lawan will qualify as being one of those persons.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking to Arise Director of News and Politics Editor, Sumner Sambo.